menu today, and man, once in a blue moon, I did check what would be on the program. So I don't know if my coach changed the plan from last week based on what I said, but I basically told him I can barely walk, and this was like 3-4 days later. So I think I don't know, he might have just had it planned already, but it's pretty similar to what it was last week. So this is gonna be a fun leg day. I know that we're gonna be doing crazy eights on quads, or leg extension to be exact, and then also I think we also have crazy eights on hack squats. So he's really trying to hammer out my quads because, let's be honest, they definitely need to catch up with my hamstrings. I don't know why that is. I don't know how my hamstrings got to be so, or they're not so disproportionate to my quads, but they're definitely ahead of them. So that is the plan for today. We got lunges to finish off with again, and then I think we have regular inner thigh machine. So I'll kind of test the waters with the inner thigh machine, but this is gonna be a good rainy day leg day because these past few days I've been going freaking ham and really just trying to hammer out, the warm up, and then also just going freaking ham on whatever we're hitting. So legs, given the fact that we did an insane leg day last week, this is gonna be a very interesting one. Just because I'm barely recovered. So going into this, it's gonna be a little more interesting. But that being said, I also want to touch on, kind of like the mental health side of things. We kind of go through ups and downs. That's just, it seems like it's the nature of life. Just like, everything is dualistic in its nature. That we wouldn't have lifting weights if it wasn't for a dualistic nature. Weights wouldn't be a thing. Everything would be the same. So I almost think of anything in the mental health region, that kind of feels off, like anxiety, depression, ADHD, whatever it is, whatever just feels, I don't know, like it's like you just don't vibe with it as much as you do with other emotions like happiness and whatever else kind of feels easy to you. I almost see that as like, it's almost like the weights in weightlifting. You kind of have to have those so that it kind of carves you into whoever you want to become. Because whoever you want to become, that's just based on, whatever your goals are, really. And if you didn't have any resistance to your goals, are they really goals that are worth chasing? So, I don't know. I've just been kind of having one of those more down days, and it's interesting kind of having this perspective, because if it wasn't for, the discipline with my meals, with training, with cardio, whatever it is, it would be very easy to kind of fall for, almost like the mindset, like, we can give in. Like, let's be a little bit down today, or let's be a little bit anxious, let's be a little bit depressed, because that's just what's easy. That would be very easy to do without my goals in mind. So that being said, I think these kind of days are almost like the soil for whatever your goals may be. And what I mean by that is, like, you kind of need these days to contrast whatever you're building towards. And I've known that just from a lot of things, but I think the thing that's coming to mind right now is competing. I've definitely lost way more than I want in competing. Now, you know, I did get my pro card in the Natural League, and that was freaking cool. I mean, man, that was amazing. Like, that kind of success, it's kind of cool. I was with a buddy of mine, and he was like, he's just known me all throughout college, and he knew that that's what I was going for all that time. It's like, you know, just trying to get a pro card. Like, he knew, like, from the day we started training, that was a goal of mine. That was just in the back of my mind, like, I want to do this. And so to celebrate with him there was freaking cool. But that being said, on the other side of things, I have lost so many competitions. You know, I've come like second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Like, I've had so many competitions where it's like I thought I nailed it, and I thought I did pretty well in comparison to the other competitors. But you know, you get humbled, because as good as you may have improved, I wasn't to the caliber that the judges were looking for. And so that kind of made me hungrier. That kind of made me, you know, gain some perspective on, all right, cool, that's what their criterion is. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what kind of person we can become given the goals that we have. So I think that's a pretty good mindset. I mean, goals are, to me, they're almost like an extension of your best self. You know, it's because I kind of go back and forth, or I shouldn't say back and forth with this, but I've been thinking about it. You know, in bodybuilding, the goals are very simple. You know, build the best body that you can, hence bodybuilding. And so what does that mean? You know, gaining size, having proper conditioning, having proper symmetry and proportions throughout your physique. So it's very easy to kind of gauge your progress with bodybuilding, because you can see it. You know, you can see it on your body. Now, with mental health, it's a little different. Now, it's not so obvious that you see your mental health and you see it for what it is. You know, you kind of gauge it a little differently, and you gauge it moment to moment. Now, for me, the metrics for mental health come down to three things. Happiness, in other words, how much you're enjoying everything in your life. One second, I gotta change lanes. The second one would be attentiveness. So how well you can just be in the present moment. And then the third one is accessibility to creative expression. So how well you can do what you do, and how easy you can access it on a moment-to-moment basis. And so, you know, the first two, they're pretty easy to measure. You know, happiness, you know, just how good do you feel on a moment-by-moment basis. Attentiveness, how well you can stay in the present moment and sustain your attention in the present moment. And then the third one is a little trickier, because I think that's kind of tied to a creative project you might have. So let's say you're painting something, right? How well can you just get in the zone or get in a flow state where you can just paint with ease? Like it just feels effortless. And so that's just one example. You know, another one could be, it could literally be anything. It could be like you're designing a video game. Like, how well can you think of, you know, the characters that go into it, the plot that goes into it, and then even the graphics and the coloring and, you know, all these different things that comprise a video game. It's like, how well and how productive can you be in designing that video game? And so I think of it kind of in that realm, because it it comes down to how much you're enjoying the moment, how much you're staying in the moment, and then how well you can creatively express yourself. So that's kind of my criteria for mental health. That's pretty much it. So today, I guess my creative expression, if you will, is just hammering some fucking legs. I mean, that is where I am at today. Like, I just want to completely thrash my legs and really hammer out my quads. Like, if that is my creative project, so to speak, then it's more of a question of how productive can we be in thrashing my quads. So that being said, I don't think there's really much else to say other than let's just freaking get in there, get after it, and have some fun. What a leg day it's already been. Like I said, we had crazy 8s on our plan, but we had more than what I anticipated for. So I thought it was just leg extension and hack squats, but turns out we're also doing Y stance, leg press, crazy 8s. So we kind of made a big jump. So we went from our 5th set being 3 plates. This is our 6th set. A whole other plate. And that being said, like, we've only been doing about like 10 to 50, well, more like 20 to 50 pound increment jumps each set. So this is definitely going to test the waters, but let's go freaking nuts. We've done leg extension, crazy 8s, inner thigh, and then we're supersetting this with calves. So we're pretty freaking fried already, but not gonna stop us from doing the last set. Let's just go crazy. Oh. Oh my God. Yo, come here. Oh my God. Man, I gotta say, this is kind of a favorite of mine as far as calf raises go, just because of the grip on the pad. It keeps my feet in place, which is kind of hard to come by when it comes to regular standing calf raise, so that's a freaking plus. Here's the deal. If I can do this for a clean 11 reps, you know, maxing out at about like 8 out of 10 effort, then we'll go up to 2 plates. But dude, this is already loaded at I think 105 pounds without any weight. So I'm not gonna even do the math on that. I got but these are freaking gnarly, to say the least. So That's the deal. If we can do this for good 11 reps at 80% effort, we'll go up to 2 plates. All right. Come here. Yep. Oh my God. Fuck. Enough said. Well, we'll try that weight for the last set too. That was more like 99.9% effort. Slight change of plans. We're gonna treat this more like a squeezing set because my nervous system is freaking taxed right now. And not in a good way, you know, it's kind of like you don't want to push it too much because then you can't recover for tomorrow. And I've had that happen where I actually gotten sick just because I pushed it a little too far in workouts. So we're gonna lighten the load. Still pretty freaking heavy, but it's enough to make sure that we're getting a good squeeze out of everything. So let's freaking go nuts. Oh my God. Oh.